Hey, Dr. Bill here. So I'm about to do a Meet the Mentor with one of my dear, dear friends of almost actually more than 30 years. But before we do, let me talk about LEAP. LEAP is an entrepreneurship program for high school and college students aged 15 to 25 that we have taught at UCLA for the last 16 years. What do we teach? We teach students skills to be successful in life. And the coolest thing about LEAP is that I've asked so many of my celebrity patients and business leaders to come and help, and they do. We've had Mark Wahlberg, Paula Abdul, Michael Strahan, Kathy Bates, Anthony Hopkins, Apollo Ono, Eric Garcetti, Jason Alexander. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And these people come and share the secrets of their success with our LEAP students. Typically, we get about 500 to 550 students every summer, and we literally pack them with so much information. It's like drinking from a fire hose. And one of the parts that the students love most is when we bring in these mentors. So we started this Meet the Mentor series because we didn't want this to just be a one and done week. We wanted to do it throughout the year and continue to give these students great information from great mentors to teach them how to do businesses in every field you could ever imagine. LEAP this year will be our inaugural year at USC. After 16 years on the beautiful UCLA campus, we're actually making a move, and it kills me as a diehard Bruin to say this, but we're gonna be Trojans. UCLA is turning their dorm area into the Olympic Village for 2028, and they just don't have room for us. We're going to have between 400 and 500 students. We will be at the beautiful Bing Theater, which is also near and dear to me because I know the Bing family, at the USC campus. So I gotta say, go Trojans this year. And we have great commitments. Anthony Hopkins has already committed, and by the way, he has 2 huge feature films coming out this year. He stars as Sigmund Freud in Sigmund Freud, and told me, Doc, I honestly think this is the best performance I've ever given in any piece of work I've ever done. So I'm excited to see that. And then in January, he's launching a film called One Life, where he plays the British gentleman who saved 669 Jewish children from being exterminated during World War II in the concentration camp, and somehow got their train diverted to London and saved these kids. And these 669 kids are now responsible for thousands of offspring. And it's a very, very touching story. So he will be there. Jason Alexander will be there. Amy Adams has made a commitment to be there. Paula Abdul is there every year. And we have a whole lineup of amazing business speakers and whatnot. So LEAP 2024 will rock. If you want more information, go to www.leapfoundation.com. Sign up today because we will sell out. I'd like to introduce you to my dear friend, Michael Schonbuch, not only a friend, a gym buddy, and the lawyer who saved my life. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Michael Schonbuch, Mike, he's the owner of Daniels, Fine, Israel, Schonbuch, and Lebovits, LLP, and is opening Schonbuch Halassi LLP on May 1st. So he's taken the whole thing over in 2024. Mike was the president of the Association of Southern California Defense Counsel in 2015, the president of the California Defense Council 2018, the president of the American Board of Trial Advocates in 2020 and 2021, and is a fellow in the American College of Trial Lawyers. He's an avid weightlifter and bodybuilder, and that's where we met. He works out at Gold's Gym now in Venice almost every day. He teaches young lawyers how to try cases and speaks at seminars around California on the art of trial advocacy and civility. Mike is also a course director of the Jack Daniels ABOTA Trial School at Loyola Law School, and is a proud participant every year at LEAP, and has had both of his kids attend LEAP, and has a daughter who is a rising superstar and a proud father like me, and one of my closest friends, Michael Schonbuch. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Bill.
So let's go back to the beginning. How'd you get in the law?
It's actually a funny story. I didn't know really any lawyers, but when I was in college, I went to school in the capital of New York, and I got an internship as a senatorial intern for United States Senator Alfonse D'Amato. So I was working in the United States Senate, and he asked me what I was going to do when I graduated. I told him I didn't know. I was probably going to go back to my hometown. I wasn't really sure. Maybe get back into my construction work that I had worked part-time through school. And he said, I think you should go to law school. And I said, I don't know how to do that. He said, I like the way you tell stories, the way you move your hands, and I think you got a future in that. And I said, well, how do I do it? And he handed me a book, the LSAT, which is the law school admission test. I read it, got interested, and next thing you know, there I was.
All right, so you go to law school, and your first job out of law school was where?
Well, first job out of law school or during? Because I did work during.
Okay, let's do both.
During law school, I worked at a firm in downtown Los Angeles. I went to school at Boston University for law school. October was beautiful, September was beautiful, November hit, and it started getting a little chilly. It was the 80s. We were watching LA Law, Miami Vice, Magnum PI. I decided I was going to interview in either Miami, LA, or Honolulu. And I got some job offers in Los Angeles. I drove cross-country to spend the summer here and took a job at a firm in downtown LA. It was absolutely incredible, beautiful. I drove all the way back. My roommate said, how was California? I said, dude, pack your bags. We're moving.
That's great. Now, I know in the law field, a lot of lawyers specialize in different areas. Some do PI, some do this. Why don't you talk about what you've done in your career, because you have become an icon in the industry in what you do, and it's a very specialized subset of what people practice in law.
Sure. There's a very, very small percentage of lawyers who actually do jury trials. Every lawyer out there, the majority, 99.9%, handle a multitude of type of cases, real estate, business, and all that, but that's all called litigation. Litigation is when you're writing papers back and forth. Trial law is a little different, and that's what I do. To get a real trial lawyer is difficult. It's unusual to find people that actually do that. So that's kind of my specialty. I handle almost every type of case. I'll do business litigation, I'll do real estate, I'll do personal injury, property damage, product liability, construction defect, entertainment, music, sports, breach of contract, whatever it takes. The skill and what I provide is the ability to go to trial and take a file, which is two-dimensional. A litigation file is two-dimensional, it's paper, and you turn it into three-dimensional, a presentation that you present in front of a jury and win that case. And that's the art that I provide.
Yeah, and I also have to clarify something in that sometimes winning is actually just minimizing a loss. In other words, there are cases that you've told me after they were over, so there was no breach, but where a company, a high-profile company, was being sued for $100 million. And for you, the win was making it so they only had to pay like 5 or 10 million instead of 100 million. Let's talk about that. And because what you do, and storytelling is such an important part, is you need to convince a jury to diminish things in a way that makes sense to the average Joe, right?
Sometimes that is the strategy. I'm actually, coincidentally, in a jury trial right now in downtown Los Angeles, and it's a case where there probably will be a verdict in favor of the plaintiff. Part of what we're doing on the defense is called damage control, because we feel that the numbers they're asking for are excessive. It's too much. And we feel that they're being unfair, and they think they're trying to use their ability as trial lawyers to take advantage of certain defendants, companies on the defense that have large amounts of assets. So we have to come in, we try to resolve the case, we give them numbers that we feel are reasonable. To date, we've been unable to get it settled. So we're picking a jury right now, and the goal will be, sure, we will try to win the case, absolutely. But the alternative goal, the backstop, is to come out with a number that we feel is reasonable. Maybe something we already offered, maybe slightly more than we offered, but that's a very common phenomenon because we face a lot of times companies get sued. You read about it on the internet, you read about it on TMZ, someone files a complaint and they're suing for $50 million. And you may say, well, you know what, I'd like to pay maybe $50,000, but not $50 million. That's ridiculous. So in that kind of scenario, we have to come in and try to get the case resolved for that lower amount, sometimes by settlement and more oftentimes by trial.
You know, you said picking a jury, and that brought me back to our trial. You know, for those of you who have never been involved in a lawsuit, don't. But if you have to, pick him. And I mean, you know, it was amazing to me how many components go into actually winning. I'll remember from the get-go, you know, Michael is an expert in jury selection and teaches other lawyers how to do this, because at the end of the day, nothing else matters but the outcome. And the outcome is completely contingent on who your jury is. And, you know, sitting there and being able to select the right jury is a huge part of the case. And, you know, and we went through that. And for me to be able to sit on the other side and listen to this, and by the way, I want to tell you why I hired Michael. I went into a lawsuit, not by choice, that lasted 7 years. And I fired 2 complete teams of lawyers and then a third lawyer throughout the thing, because they all looked at me and said, Doc, you're going to lose. I'm like, I'm not going to lose. And when I got to Michael, he's like, I can't promise you you'll win, but we'll try to do damage control. Well, we won all across the board on everything, and he was brilliant in court. And the saving grace of my trial was that the Johnny Depp trial was going on at the same time, so no one paid attention to us, which was also great. But how did you learn the skill? I mean, it's a performance. You know, how did you learn that skill?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Really means a lot to me.
No, all true.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, what I do, it's not...
and we have to say Maureen, too.
Oh, of course.
He went in with one of his partners at the firm, Maureen Michaels, who is genius as well.
Absolutely, the best. That's a very good point. But I want to say I really appreciate your words. What I do, I don't consider to be a job. It's kind of a career, and it's my life. So I take my work very seriously, and I really try to do the best I can every time. What I always say is that I can't promise I'm going to win the case, but I can promise you I will out-lawyer the other side. That I will deliver on. And what we did, for example, in your case, is we figured out what we need to do to try to win, because we had technical issues on the case that put us in a tight spot. So we tried to analyze how can we get the jury to go around technical issues and pay attention to the people involved. Because what I feel is we won that case on the people, and we had to present that story. So learning how to pick a jury is a very difficult process. I teach various programs about a selection of a jury. If you go onto the Los Angeles Superior Court website right now, and there's a series of educational videos. The Los Angeles Superior Court chose me, of all the lawyers in LA and beyond, to demonstrate voir dire for young lawyers who are trying to learn. So you can click on and watch that performance at any time. It's on their website. And there's a lot of lawyers in LA. To be chosen, that was quite an honor. I teach the Abota Trial School at Loyola Law School, which involves jury selection. It's a very difficult process. I find that most up-and-coming lawyers, that's the most difficult part to learn. An opening statement, you can kind of get the hang of. A closing argument's fun. You make your argument to the jury. Cross-examination, all that. Voir dire, jury selection, is the most difficult thing, and we just have to do it. You have to get in there. We teach them, we show them, we explain what we're going to do, we make them do it, and then we critique them when they're doing it to explain, to ask your questions in a certain manner, to get the jury to speak, because it's an art to have a conversation with someone and get them to talk. So I describe it as you're going to a cocktail party and you need to work the room. So what are you going to do when you go to a cocktail party to work the room? You ask questions, because people like to speak. Don't put your head down when someone's talking to you, because you're at a party and you put your head down, what are they going to do? Walk away. Don't take notes in someone's face. No one goes to a cocktail party and says, so, how often do you come here? Every week. No one takes notes. So you need to engage in people like a cocktail party. Get them to talk, learn a little bit about them, and then apply the issues in the case to the things you just learned about these people. Very difficult skill, but it can be mastered.
Yeah. You've had an illustrious career. If you had to look back over your career and say, this was the case, like the case I'm most proud of all the cases that you've done, where you were really like, there was no way in the world anybody ever thought you would win, and then you won it, what would be that case, if you're allowed to talk about it?
I don't think I can, but I don't think I can crystallize that to one case. There have been so many that are so memorable, and I'll start in reverse order. Your case to me has left such an impression. I felt so great about helping you out. I felt that you were put in such a bad position unfairly, and you had all these predecessor lawyers that were there before me, and I felt like I had this responsibility to get you out of that bad situation. So when we won that, I got to tell you, I know you were walking on clouds. I was walking on clouds too. So that was a very, very important case for me.
I'll tell you, I remember the day of the verdict as clear as if it was yesterday. I wake up, I do my little morning routine. I'm in the shower, and I'm thinking, I can't lose. I can't lose. I can't lose this case. My entire reputation, like everything, was on this case. And then I'm thinking, but we all know OJ did it, And I'm like sitting there going, oh man, I was so nervous. And then I think there were 94 measures. And as I started reading, we won one, we won the second, we won the third, we won the fourth, and we're going down and we're going down. And then we get to this big one. And it's like, if the answer to this is yes, go to 36. And if it's no, skip to like 85. And it was no, it was like, yo! And it was like, oh my gosh, we won every single one. Yeah. And nobody thought that would happen. Nobody thought that would happen.
Nobody thought that would happen. You've gone through the experience, and you've seen what a nerve-wracking process it is. There's an element of risk involved. You said at the beginning of this discussion to stay out of court. I think that's wise advice. I'm the person that you call when you can't get out of that situation and you have to go. It's tough. Court is not a place. It's very, very risky. There are so many unforeseen results on cases. So that was very good advice. I like the fact that I come in and help people who are in a very difficult position and need to get out of there. And so to answer your question, that was one of my most memorable cases because I really felt bad for what you had gone through. And the fact that I was able to take one of the worst things in your life and turn it into one of the most memorable, best things, to me is so important. And I cannot tell you the level of appreciation I have for you afterwards, just discussing it with me and telling me how good it was and how much you appreciate what we did and everything. So that was really important, really. There are tons of other cases. I was the lead defense lawyer for the Las Vegas massacre, the shootings. I represented the concert venue. We had 59 deaths. Very, very serious matter. To be able to get that resolved without going to court was very, very satisfying for me. I did have a case defending Ozzy Osbourne on a third-party criminal conduct case, which I won. It was appealed, and it was affirmed on appeal, so I won across the board on that. That was very satisfying. I have had multiple cases over the years defending the Viper Room and Johnny Depp in things involving paparazzi and things like that that happened in the 90s, and we won pretty much every single case. A few cases resolved for very, very small amounts. Other cases resolved successfully in court by verdict. Those have all been great. I have dozens of others, a case involving the Northridge Meadows earthquake. There were 17 deaths in that case when an apartment building pancaked. I was just retained about 2 years ago over the pandemic for the SUV that breached the southern border of the United States. It had 25 people being smuggled in. It was hit by a trucker, and there were 13 deaths in that vehicle, and I was hired by the trucker and the trucking company to handle that case, a massive catastrophic case. I can go on and on. There are so many cases I've been involved in, but yours definitely was an extremely memorable case, and I'm so happy I was there to help you out.
Yeah, I can't even thank you enough. If I'm a young student watching this and I'm contemplating going into law, what would you suggest I do to better prepare myself and also familiarize myself with what a life in law would look like? Because, no offense, as bad a rap as dentists get, you guys get a worse one.
Yeah, no, very true. I think there's more lawyer jokes than any other type of joke.
I think you guys beat us.
Definitely more than dental jokes, that's for sure. Well, it's going to sound kind of silly, but I think one thing to do is to watch some TV shows on the law. Go out and watch Lincoln Lawyer, go out and watch Suits and things like that, because a lot of it is television. It is. A lot of it is TV and sensationalized. But a lot of it is very true. If you watch Suits, which is a great show, you see that there's a lot of late nights. You see there's long hours. You notice what happens to the very young associates who work like dogs at the beginning of their career, and you have to put that time in. At the same time, I would do a lot of reading, because law involves reading and digesting information and understanding. I think public speaking, anytime you get a chance to do debate, performance, acting, voice classes, things like that, if you want to do the type of work I do. I always break down, there's two real types of lawyers. You've got the transactional lawyers that read contracts and talk on the phone and work out discrepancies in words, and then there's the litigation lawyers, the trial lawyers that go to court. For me, there was always only one type of lawyer. I couldn't see myself spending my life arguing about the word "the" or a comma or something like that. To me, it was taking the case, the two-dimensional case that the transactional lawyer was working on, and turning it into that three-dimensional presentation in front of the jury. So anything that has to do with the ability to publicly speak, plays in school, acting, just discussions, things like that. And I always say one of my philosophies in life is say yes. When you're given opportunities to do something, appear somewhere, speak somewhere, help someone, say yes. You never know where it's going to lead. I say yes almost all the time. I've done a lot of things that have been nothing. They've gone nowhere. It's been a complete waste of time. And I've done a lot of things that have completely changed the course of my life.
Yeah, yeah. Keep the door open.
Exactly.
If when you guys open up your firm, is there ever any opportunity for like young interns or things like that? And if so, how do people find out about that?
Yes, I am, I was going to say world famous, but I'm going to say locally famous for training young lawyers. I constantly have law clerks, fellows. We have a fellowship program. We have a summer clerkship program. Absolutely. We go to the local law schools and interview. We try to find people. We always try to find new, young talent that's out there and bring them in. I really enjoy training people. Even if they don't end up working with me, I still enjoy the process. I've always lived by the philosophy that you need to kind of give back and also at the same time teach the next generation of up-and-coming lawyers. So we have a very, very active program about bringing up the new people. So absolutely, right now as we speak, I have I have two clerks working right now. One's waiting for bar results. One is a second year in law school, and I'm going to be having another one starting very soon. So absolutely, I love it. What I always tell people is I hire on personality. So that's the most important thing. Of course, you have to go to law school. Of course, you have to graduate. Of course, you have to pass the bar. Those are just things you need to do to become licensed. But with me, it's all personality.
Yeah, I get it. Michael, on a personal note, thank you so much for saving my life. Thank you for being such a big supporter of LEAP. He has been a mentor every year since we started the program. On Friday of LEAP Week, we do something called a mentor workshop, where we have over 100 different professionals from all walks of life come and sit with students in a small at a table with 8 to 10 students, and just talk about what you like, what you don't like about your career, the challenges, how you overcame them, and whatnot. We rotate every 30 minutes, so it's kind of like speed dating in a way. And Michael has been there. He sent both of his kids to LEAP. His daughter Taylor won the talent contest, of course, because she's an amazing singer, and her career is blowing up. And it's just been such a pleasure having you involved on that, and just being friends for the last 30 years.
Bill, that means a lot to me. It really does. The most important thing in my life is friendships and relationships and everything. And I really, really genuinely appreciate and cherish the relationship we have. It's very, very important to me. On LEAP, I do want to say that I enjoy going every year. I love talking to these young students, these young minds. They have such great questions, and they're so eager to learn. And I feel every year, every single year, I look at it on my calendar, I say, wow, I'm so busy, how am I ever gonna get down there? I go and I do it, and then that's one of the most memorable days of the entire year. It stays with me for months afterwards. I remember their faces, their questions, and it's such a great process. I can't believe how you've taken this program and turned it into what it is. It's unbelievable. You change hundreds of lives every year, and it's just absolutely spectacular.
Thank you.
And it's all because of you.
Well, and you and these guys, and it's a team. I mean, the program would never, ever, ever happen without Charlie and James being here every day, without all these amazing mentors like you that come year after year after year, and these great speakers. I'll be honest with you. I mean, when I look at this list, Anthony Hopkins, Kathy Bates, Mark Wahlberg, Chris Voss, Michael Strahan, Apollo Ono, Richard Branson, Paula Abdul, Nisi. I mean, these people all come and speak for free. We don't pay any of them, because like you and like me, they believe that our future is in the youth, and they want to help foster that. And that's a beautiful thing. So if you are a parent watching this and you have a student who's 15 to 25 and you don't sign them up for LEAP, you are a bad parent. And if you're a student 15 to 25 and you want to go to LEAP, go talk to your parents and say, hey, Mom, Dad, if you don't send me to this, you're a bad parent. At any rate, we hope to see you at LEAP next year. And thanks for watching Meet the Mentor. Dr. Bill, over and out.
Thank you.